Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Proper Scoundrels podcast. I am Davros. I am joined by Blake.
You almost did it.
No, I didn't.
You almost did it.
I did not. I enunciate like nobody's business.
You almost did it.
I did
Hi,
not.
I'm Blake. Y'all know me.
Not. Blake's the real speaker here.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. How are you? How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Just living this dream, man.
Yep. All dreams or something.
Yeah,
I
could be a
am.
nightmare. Could be a dream. Who knows?
You know, these dogs are driving me crazy. It's the season for autoerotica.
Yeah, no. Like, spin your chair the other way. You might make some money on OnlyFans or something. Who knows?
She got down. I bumped the bed and she was like, nope, I'm out. Nobody else is seeing this. Daddy's talking about it. I've just messed up the blanket. And so, and that's just how it'll be tonight. It'll just be messed up. It'll be fine.
It's fine. It's all fine.
Oh,
there it is. There it is.
There it is. He's like, got to make the money somehow. Hey, what are you doing? You're acting sketchy. I don't like it. Give me that side eye. I just have no idea what's happening up on the bed right now. Stop that. Thank you. But yeah. So I have been targeted at work.
Oh.
Yes. Somebody came in and slammed my drawer on my desk really harshly, and it messed up the organization of my pens and my Twix candies and my Snickers candies, and I had a little come apart, and somebody was like, that bullet didn't graze you at all. It hit you right square in the eyes. Because I don't know if you know this, but even little Twix, little fun Twix, they come in left and right. And so they were lined up and left and right in my candy drawer.
Why?
And they are labeled left and right. And
You've got issues.
Snickers fun size bars have letters on them. And I had it spelled out, Snickers.
So what happens if you take one away?
I've never done that. I would have to take all of them away. All of them. Which is, I can do, by the way. I can eat, the entire word of Snickers. I can do that. That's a weightlifting hack right there. That's good macros.
Yes. You got to have your simple sugars to carry you through.
Yes. And I was just like, I can't believe somebody would, one, come in here and violate my personal drawer. That's my desk. That's my drawer. That's my candy. And I will get the spray out. And he's like, I already smell like lavender. Leave me alone. And which I'm literally I'm okay with. Like, if you come in and get a Twix, I get it. They're delicious. I don't blame you. I would probably do the same thing. But I wouldn't slam the drawer so hard that it messes up the organization, so you don't know if you're getting a left or a right.
Yeah, because that's a big deal.
It really is. I mean, if you got your mouth all ready for a right Twix and you get a left, man, it's just not right. It's chaos. Oh, chaos. It's chaos.
See, you did it again.
No, that's the word. If you look it up, chaos is when somebody messes up your candy drawer. It's chaos.
No, it's not. It's chaos.
It is. I promise you it is.
No, it's not.
No, chaos is that they also messed up the organization of my colored pens. Just to be mean to me. I don't know why. I think I am a delight.
I bet you are.
I'm just saying. And So that has been happening at work, and they are fixated on a current fascination I have of synthesasia. Real word.
What?
I'm going to say a number, and I want you to say whatever color comes to mind.
What? What in the National Register are you talking about?
I am going to say a number, and you just say whatever color comes to mind. Okay?
Send it.
8,
Blue.
sort of. You're not wrong. You're just not right. 3.
Green.
Nope, you're wrong. You are broken.
You're asking me to say a number.
8 is purple. 3 is yellow. 1 is white. 0 is black.
What are you talking about? I don't get
It's
it.
called. It is called synthesasia. It is a correlation of common things with other things that are otherwise unrelated.
I know what euthanasia is. I know what that is, but I don't know what
Are you saying I
synthesis.
need to be euthanized?
No, I'm saying I know what it is.
Now, synthesasia is when there's synthesizing of things that don't belong together. And so most people will associate the number 8 with the color purple, the number 3 with yellow, the number 1 with white or gray, but predominantly white, 0 with black, 7, I think, is blue. 8 and octopuses are always together, and the octopus is always purple. I'm gonna give you a big one right here. Root beer and Abraham Lincoln.
Huh.
And I stumbled into this, and I was like, I am normal. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Somewhere. But yeah, it was really trippy. I was like, did I get into the gummies? Like, what the hell has happened to me?
I think you have, my friend.
I checked, and it is an unopened bag.
These gummies ain't doing shit. You proceed to take the whole one or the whole bag, contents thereof.
I mean, not recently, but I mean in the past. So yeah, so it was really interesting. So I've like got targeted at work, and I'm being exposed for synthesasia, and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening in my life right now. I just want to squat, man. I just want to squat 315. That's all.
Where are you at now?
275.
We gotta get these numbers up, champ.
Yeah.
How many times you
Yeah.
squat in 275?
So if I'm doing 3 sets, I'll do sets of 6. If I'm doing 5 or 6 sets, I'll probably do sets of 3 or 4, and just trying to stay right there at that RPE of 9.
I got you.
So it's
Realistically, I think if you did a 1 rep, you could probably do 315 if you're doing
probably.
that.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think I'm at like 85% right now, maybe 90% if I'm going for more volume, but there's a little bit more there to go.
Sure.
So, but let's see, if 275 is 90%, I need 10% more. So that would be 29 pounds. So 30 pounds. So 275, that'd be 305.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just 2 5s on each side. So I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Like, who can't squat 2 5s?
Exactly.
And this is literally how I progress in the gym. It's like, it's no longer the number that is above what my limit is. It's just 2 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes, and I don't know why I call the 2.5s pennies, but that's what I call them. Or, it's like, I can do this. It's just a couple of pennies.
I've always referred to those as cookies.
Mm.
Fives or nickels. You got
Yeah,
cookies. You got nickels. A plate is 45. I don't really have a word for the tens or.
not dime or blue.
Moving on.
Got him. Sad world of aviation right now.
Yeah, so I seen that helicopter come down, and when we were talking offline just before this, I haven't seen much about it. I just knew there was like 6 dead. That's the only thing I saw. But um, that crash, I mean, something catastrophic happened.
Yeah. Uh, from the videos I've seen on Twitter, and I am not an aircraft mechanic, engineer. I am not a rocket scientist. I am not even a rocket. Okay. I'm like slow motion. Uh, but the top rotor came off at some point in time. And you and I have talked about this before, that there is an emergency maneuver that a pilot could perform if they had a full engine failure, of keeping the aircraft in a momentous trajectory. So high enough and fast, or fast enough to go forward. It'll continue to spin the rotors, but the rotors literally came off of this helicopter, and it turned upside down and splashed into the water.
Yeah, so the only thing I saw, and again, you had more angles than I did, but the only thing I saw was when the aircraft was coming out of the sky, it did not have a rear rotor. So the only thing I can think is I can't remember what it's called, but if you dip the nose down and then you immediately bring it back up, the main rotor disc could chop the tail rotor off of it, and that would cause it. I wonder if something like that happened for it to lose the rear rotor assembly itself, and then that caused the top rotor to go off. But I mean,
So
I've seen that
it
picture.
was, yeah, it was reported that he was low on fuel and he was returning for fuel. So he had gone up the river and turned around and was coming back down the river. And I don't know any more than that. I just know it was sad. But um, my mind, it's a dark and it's a catacomb. And I'm like, if I am going to lose my family, I'd rather go all at the same time. Like, I just, if I'm a little kid, I don't want to lose my mom and dad. If I'm mom or dad, I don't want to lose my little kid. But if some divinity has decided that today's the day that we're going to separate this mortal coil, all in, all together. So hopefully the remaining family of theirs will find some sort of peace in life. But sad day. And then today, apparently there was a small plane crash out of Boca Raton. They can't drive
I've
or
seen that
fly.
video.
Yeah, poor folks down there can't fly or drive. It's like, oh man, just I just can't. It's, oh Lord. Uh, and there was one person on the ground that was affected by that. Apparently, as it crashed, they were driving over a bridge and they were engulfed by the fireball. And Amtrak has stopped service through that area because when a plane crashes, you don't just get a wrecker out there and clean it up. The NTSB will leave it exactly as it lays for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever worked an aircraft crash?
Nope.
I have.
Really?
Yes. And we had access to the pilots, like we could touch them. We evaluated them and confirmed that they were in fact deceased. And the NTSB was like, do not move a thing.
Hmm.
They're like, don't touch it. And it was probably close to 14 hours after the crash that they allowed us to begin the process of extricating the bodies.
Wow.
And so as the extrication team went in, NTSB would take a picture of what they were going to cut as they were cutting, and then what they cut.
Really?
And so they'd be like, we want to cut this seat post. Click, cut the post, click, post is cut, click. Now what do you want to do? Now we want to cut this seat post. Click. It was arduous, to say the least.
Yeah, I wouldn't not like that.
Yeah.
Because like we know how the corners can get about that kind of stuff, and I couldn't imagine doing like scaling them up.
Man. And so I reported for duty, not watching the news at all. I was listening to music on the way in from my phone, so didn't have like terrestrial radio on or anything like that. Got to work and they said, hey, they're going to come get you. You're going to swap on scene. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to a fire. Glad I got a biscuit. And they're like, you're going to the plane crash. And I'm like, plane crash? They're like, yep. And off we went to the area where the plane crashed. And that's where I stayed for 14 hours.
Yeah, that's like you see the news and you're like, yeah, I'm calling out. I am very sick today.
Yeah. Well, I have done that. I have done that kind of stuff for snowstorms before. So we had a snowstorm one time, and I had a Subaru. So make jokes all you want to, but I did some amazing stuff with a Subaru in a snowstorm, and actually picked up a bunch of people that were just walking through the snow because their cars were stuck wherever they were. And I was like, this is not the time for penny loafers, bruh. Get in the car. I'm going to Southside. If that's where you want to go, come on. But then drove to work the next day, and it was pretty much, like the skeleton crew of our shift and the crew from the previous shift. And all these people were like, hey, we can't make it in. And so they were all given, anybody who called in and said they couldn't make it, were given admin time, just free time. And anybody who didn't call in, they just stayed at home, didn't alert their chain of command at all, were deducted PTO time.
Oh.
And everybody that came in was just at work. And so I was like, I will never risk my life to come into work again. And I would not. And there's literally another episode of snow that happened where I got caught by a local news crew because I was riding a motorcycle in the snow. And the next morning I was like, hey, I can't make it in. And the reply was, you could make it around on that little motorcycle of yours, but you can't make it to work today. It's like, no, I cannot. Sorry.
Prove that was me.
It's like, you don't know that was me. That person was wearing a helmet. That y'all know I've got friends. It could have been anybody. And I never went in for a snowstorm again. I was like, nope, I will be stuck at home. Sorry. Yeah.
So speaking about emergency services, I have got a good question. I know we have talked about it at one point in time. If you were pulled over, how do you respond to the police?
This happened.
So the reason why I'm saying this is a good friend of mine. I talked to him the other day, and he was like, have you heard the news? I said, what news? He said, I got a DUI. And I'm like, you're a moron. And he proceeded to tell me about it. And I was like, did you admit to anything? And he was like, well, I told them that I had a few beers earlier that night because he got pulled over at 5 a.m. and they half-assed did his FST, which he's going to get out of this one guaranteed. But yeah, like he only had a few, and I truly believe he only had a few, and went over to somebody else's house, and on his way back to his house, they got him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're guilty and you get pulled over by the cops, or you're not guilty and you get pulled over by the cops, your how you articulate what you say should be the same. Am I right or am I right?
Um, no, like, yeah. Like, I think the answer is you are just who you are. There are no special circumstances. Um, you know, I'm one of those people that I typically drive a vehicle that people don't expect me to drive, which is kind of weird to me because I'm like, I don't know. It's just a car or whatever it is. And I drove a pickup truck for a long time, and there was nothing special about it. It was very bland. It would easily disappear into anything. And one night on the way to work, was hungry as a hostage and focused on the Chick-fil-A, and apparently ran right through a red light and was in the turn lane to go into Chick-fil-A, not paying any attention to anything. I'm just like, I need number one with pepper jack cheese. And I'm about to turn, and I just notice in my rear view mirror that there's somebody walking alongside my truck. And I'm like, what are you doing? And so I roll down the window, and he identifies himself as a state trooper and that he was stopping me because I ran the red light. And I look behind me, and I have no recollection of this. And I'm like, that's a lot of traffic. How did I make it through? um, and then he notices my shirt, and when he comes back to me, he's like, I ran you. You don't have any warrants, and the only reason I'm not giving you a ticket right now is because of your job. He's like, I did not recognize you. He said, but even still, you are supposed to be setting an example for everyone else to follow.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I saw him on every single incident after that, I was like, I stop at every red light now. You taught me. You made me a better man. So, and I can, years upon years ago, when I was with the fire department, I had a little wallet badge. It was about yay big.
Mm-hmm.
And it would clip, I just have it clipped on the little pocket of my wallet. I always carry the little skinny wallets. And so if anyone ever asked me for my ID, or if I, had to pay for anything and they saw my badge, maybe I'll get 10% at somewhere. I don't know. I'm not going to ask for it. I am not that kind of hero.
No.
But if you give it to me, I'm going to remember it and I'm going to be happy. So I did get pulled over one night, and I'm not sure if I had been drinking or not. But I got stopped at a roadside check, which I think those are unconstitutional anyway. It's like, if I stop and roll down my window, fine. But if I don't want to stop and I can proceed, then I should be allowed to. But I stopped and rolled down my window, and he asked for my driver's license, and I held it up and, flashed the badge. I'm like flagging him right here. I'm like, yeah, here you go, bud. And he was like, you're a fireman? I'm like, not a good one. I firmly believe that if you can make a cop smile, you're not going to get a ticket.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, he was like, "You're a fireman." I'm like, "Well, I couldn't be a cop, so I mean, what else am I going to do?" Yeah. So something that you probably did not realize, there's a shortage of fire trucks.
Yeah, so the department that I work part time for, they've been ordering trucks, and like all these other departments, they're like getting 36 to 48-month lead times on a brand new fire apparatus, whether it's a truck or a engine or a skew or whatnot. They're getting all these like lead times. So I just assumed it's like from the COVID pandemic and all that stuff that caused it, because that's when it really started, was around that time.
So it actually started 2 years before that.
Hmm.
And I'm going to credit the More Perfect Union YouTube page for this information because it was something I kind of knew, but I was never involved in like the fire truck side of things. They'd give me the keys to one and I would drive it around. It didn't matter to me. No money ever came out of my pocket
Hmm.
for it. So it came out of my check, but not out of my pocket. So I never really knew. I wasn't on the committee to spec out the trucks or anything like that. And so it didn't matter to me. Whatever you give me, I'm going to drive. I don't care if it breaks down. We got another one,
Hmm.
you know, and, and that was the same with ambulances or fire trucks or any other apparatus that we had in the fire department. And I worked for a big municipal fire department, and I knew for a fact that we would keep an apparatus for an amount of time, and I think it was 3 years or 100,000 miles. And I don't think we ever got to 100,000 miles. I think it was always 3 years. At that 3 year mark, that unit would get replaced. It might have been 4 years. I'm not really sure, but that unit would get replaced, and the unit that we had previously would now be a reserve, and it would be held in a reserve area. And as they aged out of reserve, then they would be sold to some of the small fire departments around our metropolitan area for $1.
Hmm.
And this is how every single small fire department around me got their apparatuses, because they would wait for the big departments to age out their units, and then they would buy them for $1.
Hmm.
That was just the going rate for them. And so I was kind of like, well, I don't know how, that's happening. I don't think it was 100,000 miles because I don't think we ever put 100,000 miles on anything. And, but so apparently in like 2015, 2016 timeframe, a conglomerate got together called the Rev Group or REV, and they bought up all of so the truck is just a truck. It could be any truck, it's, a Freightliner or a whatever. Um, if I ever saw a fire department with a Volvo truck, I would probably giggle. It would have to be like the bright green ones or something. It couldn't be a red fire truck. And so that would just be too much. Um,
Hmm.
but and then they get special bodies that are put on them, and they change the suspension a little bit, and that's part of the spec process. But then the truck itself is just an engine and a transmission and a steering wheel. Everything else is built by the fire truck company.
Hmm.
Well, this Rev Group bought up all of the little peripheral factories that made the components for the bodies of the fire trucks.
Ah.
And now they control like 75% of the production of a fire truck, of any uh, EMS, emergency medical or response, any emergency vehicle. This Rev Group owns 75% of the market.
Wonder who owns them.
They said, and it wasn't like one of the big culprits. This was like, the Penguin or something. It's like this is a new villain.
Hmm.
So this Rev group, they pretty much control the market, and so they control the market on things like the doors that go
Ah,
the on the units. So if you've got a compartment and the door opens up, that's Rev unit. If it opens out, that's Rev unit. If it rolls up, that's Rev. And so they own it all. And they do this thing where they only produce parts at a certain time. So fire trucks, ambulances, all these specialized units are going down and staying down because they haven't made the new parts.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So uh, a fire department that purchases orders a new fire truck. Right now, they're looking at about 3 years of lead time on it.
Hmm.
And if for any reason the old fire truck they have breaks down and they need a new door or a new latch or a new power generator or something like that, hopefully they can find one.
Yeah.
And so right now they counted them from satellite pictures, I believe is what they said. If I'm wrong, just crucify me, whatever is fine. But there are like 250 units just sitting in a yard in LA.
Ah,
So think about the LA fires last year, and it's like you had all those fire trucks that you could have deployed. You could have taken to a water source and filled up with water, because the wildfires are not the same as a house fire. To fight a house fire, you need a certain amount of pressure.
yeah.
To fight a wildfire, um, you need water. And
Hmm.
even if your fire truck isn't pumping water, you can just open the valve and it'll just come out.
Hmm. Too easy.
So, yeah. So, all those fire trucks that are broken down, sitting in a yard, could have been out fighting a fire, but Rev Group is controlling the market on this. A firefighter, a fire department in Arkansas 3 years ago ordered a new apparatus, and the price was like $350,000. That price today is over $1 million.
Really?
So you think about a small city like, I don't know, something we all would know, like Orange Beach, um, along the Gulf Coast. It's the Gulf of
Don't
America.
don't do that to me.
um, so do you remember the Gulf uh, gas stations?
Yeah,
They always pronounced it without the L.
that's just because we live in the South.
Well, that's the only place they were, but they were all Guffs. For the longest time when I was a kid, I thought they were saying Gus.
The
So I'm like,
Gus.
there's an entire letter in there. I'm like, y'all just dropping it. But I used to live in a place where they dropped an entire word out of the pronunciation, and I was just like, I am confused.
You ever been to Missouri?
Yes. Fun fact: there are two states that I have never stepped foot in the United States:
Alaska and Hawaii.
Maine and
Ah,
North Dakota.
really?
I have been to Alaska. I have been to Hawaii.
Oh,
I've never
okay.
been to Puerto Rico.
That's not really a state.
It's a territory. Well, I mean, DC is not a state either, but I've been there. But yeah, I've never
Technically,
been
I've
to
been to
Maine.
DC as well.
I've never been to Maine. I've never been to North Dakota.
I need to get you to go to Maine then.
Yeah, we know a lot of people from Maine. It's real. It's really weird.
Yeah. It's almost like the whole state.
I don't know what they do up there. I think their population's like less than Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's small. Apparently, there's a lot of wilderness there.
Oh yeah, so the state itself covers a lot of acreage, just the
Yes.
population, sort of like Canada, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's not really anybody there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's no
But
Mexicans.
yeah, but yeah, so there's a shortage of fire trucks right now. It's really crazy.
Yeah, like they just ordered a truck at the department, and I think they're at 48 months for a mid-mount platform.
Yeah, it's you're sitting in your life, and I say it a lot. EMS, fire department, police, they're just a shadow world that you just accept the fact that it exists, but you don't ever really want to interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you interact with it, something's going bad.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
but if you live in a reasonably affluent area and you're paying your taxes, they're taking them out of your check every single payday, and all of a sudden you don't have your fire truck, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Why?
I need that thing. I think it's important.
And and it's weird. So like I think there's a deer in my backyard.
Get them.
I'm hearing the deer bark. So there was a policy at the department that I worked at that if a visitor came in and wanted to see the equipment, we had to display it. And so, and that was from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a little kid comes up and he's like, I want to see the fire truck, come on out here. Like whoever's on watch, you're doing the tour. Better know every piece of equipment, how to use it, how to explain it, why it was important to have on that truck. You better get the clean gear and put the people in it. So we had a clean set of gear at every station for visitors, and we had a set of loaner gear for every new parent.
Huh?
So there are just cheesy things that firemen like to do.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
So you would go and borrow the clean gear that's never been into a fire that doesn't have any carcinogens on it. So we thought, but apparently in the processing of making it, they're putting carcinogens in it, and then we heat them up and breathe it. So yeah, but they would go and get the clean pair and put the baby in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, cute pictures, really. I can't say that I wouldn't have done it.
No, for sure.
So, but a lot of guys wouldn't go and pick it up. They would just take their dirty gear home and put their baby in their pocket. And I'm like, dude, I know that I put like a crack rock in there one day. It's like you were supposed to keep it there until we got to the sharps box. So,
Oh, God.
Have you ever found drugs on a patient?
All the time.
What'd you do with them?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Typically, I would put mine in the sharps box. Like, that's a nowhere land. That just went to a different dimension because nobody's going in after that.
Yeah, incineration.
Yeah. So I guess if you like a good contact high, working at medical incinerator probably get you there.
Yeah, have at it.
I know we did that in the hospital as well. Like, because to get the police involved on something,
Yeah.
No. It's like we're not going to identify it. We're not going to make assumptions. We are just going to dispose of it. Bye-bye.
So speaking about hospitals and EMS and police and all that stuff, I got a story for you.
I am here for it.
There's a county that I work part-time at, and I was not there, was not witness to this, but I was told about it. So the hospital calls the sheriff's office and said, hey, I got a patient just left AMA and we forgot to take their IV out. Is there any way you can like go to their house, get a hold of them, and either bring it back here or call EMS to take the IV out? We just can't have the IV in, right? Happens all the time. So they come in there like on two wheels. This sheriff's deputy did. He goes out. He's the sergeant of the shift. You know, he's got them stripes. And he said, "What room were they in?" They're like, "Oh, they were in room whatever over here. We're about to clean it." He said, "No, no, no, no. Nobody can clean it. Nobody goes in. It's evidence." They're like, "Evidence for what?" He said, "I got people coming." So then the dog guy comes there, and he brings his dog in there to go sniff to try to find the scent of this patient so they can track this dude down. Mind you, this dogs that they have can't find a 2-inch steak in 1-inch grass. All right?
Is this the dog that I was never allowed to play with?
No.
Okay.
It's the county that I work for part time.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you now. I was thinking
So,
of the dog, and I was like, I want to pet that dog. And he's like, that dog's crazy. Leave it alone.
a Loki.
I don't know if that was its name or not. But yeah,
If
probably.
it's the one I'm thinking about.
CPs?
Yeah, Loki.
Yeah.
That dog is insane. Yes.
I would still pet it.
Man, I walked up to his car window one night just to bullshit with him because we went to high school together, and that dog like hits the cage. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, man!
That's
But
what I like
anyhow,
about it. It's happy. It wants to play.
they go get the dog out there to go sniff for this patient, and the nurse is like, really, we'll just go there after work. Like we really don't need all this stuff. And they're like, no. We've got to investigate. So as the EMS crew's leaving the ER out of this shit show, they look up and there comes the investigator that's on shift. They done called the investigator to come out so they can track down this person.
Let me tell you, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. There have been times that I've gone to someone's house. They have called 911. They have activated emergency services, and I've showed up, and they have an IV in place with the hospital get up. And I'm like, why do you have that? They left it in. I didn't really know what else to do, but now I need to go back. I'm like,
Who
I'm
is
leaving
it?
it.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it there. It may still be good. Who knows? I have been called to a house to remove an IV that got left. And totally innocent, just, hey, we left, and I was wearing a sweater. I got home, and this is still here, and I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know, pull it out. Fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's just plastic. It's fine. And I've been called to go to a house to make sure that one has been removed. Never has there been police involvement.
No, it's fine. It's like a non-issue. The hospital was just like, hey, can you go to their house and like see if we can do something about this? Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But they made it one.
That's a small county mentality right there. It's like, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we're not going to let that slide here.
You will know in this county, you do not get an IV and keep it. It was probably
guess what I got. Guess what I got the other day for the first time in my career?
What did you get? Did you get a stork?
No, fuck no. I've got one of those. I don't want another one.
Yeah.
I got a foot IV.
Boom. There you go.
First one. You ever got one?
I have done a foot IV before. I've done a leg, like shin, and I've done lots of biceps. I've done a few titties. Done a few EJs. But yeah, I've done a foot, and I was like, I don't like this at all.
It wasn't as miraculous as I make it out to be. So homeboy was paralyzed, and I stuck him in the AC, and I couldn't get anything. And he was like, "Not again." And I was like, "Where do they normally get it from?" And he was like, "Well, they normally do my hands, but nothing was there." And again, he was paralyzed. I said, "Has anybody stuck one in your foot?" And he was like, "One time, a long time ago." I said, "Hold that thought." So
You
I
have,
got it.
there you go. I did walk into the hospital one night, and there was a young girl there that they were attempting to get a foot IV on. And I was like, you've got an ultrasound right there. What? Why don't you use that? And they're like, none of us know how. And I was like, do you need an IV? And after that, like 3 people were like, fuck it, we're just going to use it. Like, it's night shift. Who knows? We're
Yeah.
not going to say that we did. We're not going to chart that, but we're going to do it.
Yes.
You know, I was working in a hospital and had a patient come in, and they were dying. They were like, they were not circling. They were going straight down. And
They were like that helicopter.
yes, yeah, they were coming down fast. And I was on airway, and I was like, hey, there's a big EJ up here. And they were like, they looked at the doctor, and she was like, yeah, have you done an EJ before? And I'm like, baby, I've done it, baby. It's like I could get an IV and an eyelid. And she was like, yeah, go for it. Keep in mind, this person is dying. We are bagging this person. We are pacing this person. We are shooting electricity in to make the heart beat. And so I cocked that head over, popped the 16 into it. That's a big, big needle. Got good draw, got good flash, got flash, got good draw, got blood work, taped it down, went. And I look over, and the doctor is just like, I'm like, what? She goes, you did not properly swab her before you
Oh
started
my
the IV.
God.
And I was like, we're going to give her an antibiotic anyway. She's like,
Oh my God.
she's like, I just, man, you know, with that big vessel. And I'm like, she is probably going to die tonight. It's not going to be because of that. And so, and that's just one of the realities of EMS people, like emergency people. This doctor, she was a really good doctor, but she needed to be a family doctor. She did not need to be an emergency doctor because she did not have that jump a step mentality that people like us have. We're like, I don't give a shit what we have to do to get to where we need to be, but that's what we need to do, and we need to do it right now. So we do stuff like that. And I can remember being on a scene with a new paramedic. He was a good paramedic, not saying anything about him. We had a critical patient and needed access. So I got an IV, and I look over, and he's still in the circle. I was like, dude, skip it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Aseptically.
I have a presser going. Like, kind of catch up, bud. Catch up. His partner did not make it through that shift.
Oh, was that the one in the other county that you worked at before we met?
Yes. Yes. She did not hang around any longer. That was just a bit too much. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name. I remember your face and your pixie haircut. But it's just like, hey, we got a deal. Yeah. But I can think back. There have been many times that I've been that jackass. I had somebody who choked on a piece of smoked sausage one time, and I literally like got forceps and pulled it out of his throat, and I went, "Oh, it's from Bojangles." and a guy in my ambulance vomited. Yeah. Like, he's dead. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's like I
When
gotta
brain
deal with the
matters
living.
explodes and you're like, oh, I can see what they're thinking.
Yeah. It's like, oh, bad thoughts. Get that off me.
Coping mechanisms for a win.
Yeah. So there's this great book that I've read a couple of times now. I've shared it with a couple of people. It's called Deep Survival. And it talks about the physiological and the psychological reasons that people survive things that other people don't survive. And there's one chapter that focuses specifically on responders. And if I say first responders, understand that there is a role that is first responder, and it's like the guys who respond first. But in all, you know, lots of deer, I guess, out here tonight, or the beagles have come up onto the deck. Um, but it discussed, kind of like the coping mechanisms of responders and how we make jokes about everything. And it's just how we keep a light on in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to be impolite to the people that we are serving at the time. It's just how we survive.
Mm-hmm.
And it carries over into everything because, have you ever been in a social environment with people who are not responders?
Yeah.
Yeah, we stand out.
Yes, we do. Like sore thumbs.
Yes. Usually find us on the periphery, find us on the perimeter. You don't find us in the middle too terribly much.
Oh God, no.
And usually somebody's telling some joke and then we come back and we just nuke the party with it.
Uh-huh. That everybody's like, who is this guy?
They're like, what is wrong with you? I'm one of those people that I've usually kept some balance in my life. And at one point of a lot of stress, I took a job as a tour guide because you can't get much different than being a responder than being a tour guide. And so I'm at a little get together with all the other tour guides, and they were like, hey, who's got joke of the day? And everybody looks at me, and I'm like,
Don't do
did
this.
y'all? No, they didn't know. They didn't know what they had opened. And I look up in their face and I was like, did y'all know that R. Kelly was a really bad hockey player? And they're like, R. Kelly. I was like, yeah, he never liked to score after the first period.
Fuck. Yes.
There was one girl that literally said, what is wrong with you? Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping in. Give us a little interaction down below, and we'll see you again next time.
Goodbye.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.